Hello and welcome to Skyline's second episode tonight. I'm Driti Atri. Well, tonight the whole West Asia, it is once again standing on the edge. An American military helicopter, it crashes near one of the world's most important waterway. Ladies and gentlemen, reports emerge of attacks near US military positions in Iraq. The Houthis, they launch another missile. Iran and America exchanging sharp warning. Mr. Trump, he finds himself in the middle of multiple controversies involving Iran, Israel, and Netanyahu. And just when tensions appear to be calming down, new reports suggest that military aircrafts, troop deployment, and secret plans, they are there that are triggering fresh fear of escalation. So what is really happening? Are we moving closer to peace or closer to a much bigger conflict? Tonight we connect all those dots because every headline that you are going to see, it's a bigger story. A story involving America, Iran, Israel, and the future of West Asia. So let's start with it. Let's start with the first segment that will shock the entire world. Imagine this, one of the world's most powerful military helicopters suddenly disappear from the sky. Now, not over a battlefield though, not during a major war, but near one of the most sensitive waterways on planet Earth. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow stretch of water through which a huge percentage of the world's oil supply it travels every single day. Now, picture the scene here. Military personnel rushing towards the crash site, questions flying everywhere. What happened? Was it an accident? Was it a technical failure? Or this was maybe something much more dangerous that nobody knows about. This week, a US Apache attack helicopter crashed near the Strait of Hormuz. Almost immediately, speculations exploded. Social media filled with a lot of theories here. Military observers, they began asking questions. And geopolitical analysts, they started examining every possible scenario. Now, the good news is that both the pilots survived. Now, according to Mr. Trump, they were rescued safely and suffered no injuries. But that was not the stop of the question. Because timings matter, and this crash happened during one of the most tense periods in that particular region. Iran and Israel, they are exchanging threats. American forces remain on high alert. Military assets are operating across the Gulf, and every moment that's being watched. Every aircraft is being tracked. Every incident is being analyzed here. And yes, when an Apache helicopter suddenly crashes, and that too in such an environment, people naturally they begin asking tough questions. Was it really an accident or not? Officials, they have not provided any answers though, but investigation is underway. But until those answers arrive, the speculation will continue because let's be honest, in today's whole West Asia, even a single crash, that's an international story. And yes, if the Apache crash, it raised a lot of questions. The next report, it raised something far bigger, and that is fear. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up and seeing the headline claiming that thousands of American troops, they have been killed. Your first reaction would probably be maybe shock. Your second reaction would be disbelief. And that is exactly what really happened when reports began circulating online about an alleged attack near the US military positions in northern Iraq. Well, the claims, they were dramatic. Explosion, missiles, drones, air defense systems, and social media posts suggesting massive casualty. Some even claim thousands of US troops have been killed till now. Basically, a staggering number. A number that would instantly change the course of the world event. But there was one major problem. Nobody could verify that. In fact, no confirmation from the Pentagon, no confirmation from CENTCOM, no confirmation from Iraqi officials, nothing. Yet the rumors, they spread like wildfire. Within hours, social media platforms were flooded with speculations. Videos, graphics, breaking alert. In fact, anonymous accounts were there. Everybody seemed to know just one thing, but nobody seemed to be able to prove that. And that highlights one of the biggest challenges during modern conflict. Information travels faster than facts. In fact, a single post, it can circle the whole world before the officials have even time to investigate it. And once a rumor, it gains momentum, stopping it becomes extremely difficult. What we do know is that the Erbil region, it has long been a very sensitive area, right? American military facilities operate there. Iran-backed groups, they have been active in the wider region. Security threats remain a constant concern there. So that means every explosion, every radar alert, every military moment, it immediately attracts a lot of attention. For now, authorities continue examining the whole situation, and until the verified information emerges, caution that remains essential. Because in a region that is already overflowing with a lot of tension, misinformation can be almost as dangerous as a missile. And wait, speaking of missiles, the next story, it involves a launch that was captured on camera. Basically a launch that is now being watched all over the world. People in Israel, they heard air raid sirens this morning. Well, they rushed towards the shelters. Their phone, it started buzzing with emergency alert. Military radars started tracking an object moving across the sky. And then in a matter of seconds, normal life turned into a moment of uncertainty. Well, a dramatic footage emerged showing the Houthis launching what they described as a long-range Palestine II missile. The visuals quickly spread online, drawing a lot of attention from all around the globe. Analysts, they immediately began examining the footage, just trying to understand what it reveals about the Houthis' growing capabilities. Well, for years, the group was seen largely as a force operating within Yemen, basically Iran-backed. But recent developments suggest that their actions, they are increasingly connected to the wider tension involving Iran, Israel, and the US. Well, every missile launch, it now carries implication far beyond Yemen. Every strike, it raises concern about escalation. Every new capability changes the military calculation, and that too across the region. Here, experts say the significance, it is not just the missile itself, but the message it sent. It shows how regional conflicts are becoming increasingly interconnected, with multiple actors now influencing the security situation here. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest footage, it has once again highlighted how many different groups are becoming involved in a conflict that already stretches across several countries. Governments throughout the whole West Asia, they are watching very carefully because every new launch, it raises fear that the whole situation could become even more complicated. Now, for ordinary people who are living in the region, each new development brings fresh uncertainty about what may come next. But you know what? While missiles were making headlines, another story was creating a different kind of controversy. One involving a very mysterious aircraft and questions that remain unanswered till now. Fresh questions are emerging over military activity in Iraqi airspace. Video circulating online appears to show the wreckage of a drone that reportedly came down near Karbala. Almost immediately, competing theories began spreading across social media. Here, some sources claim that it was an American MQ-9 Reaper drone. Others suggested it may have been an Israeli-linked surveillance aircraft. There were almost reports that Iranian origin defense system operated by Iraqi faction may have been involved here. But there is one important detail that none of these claims have been officially confirmed, and nor can we do that, because no government has fully or publicly identified the aircraft. No military authorities have accepted the responsibility yet. But the story that continues to attract attention because it comes at a very, very sensitive moment. From the latest Iran-Israel confrontation, every unusual military incident, it is being closely watched. Analysts say that the skies over Iraq have become increasingly crowded, with multiple countries, intelligence agencies, and armed groups operating in the region. So that means even a single aircraft incident, it can quickly become a major geopolitical story. Now, if the drone was conducting surveillance, it raises serious question about who was monitoring who and why. Until the official findings are released, the mystery surrounding the aircraft, it is likely to continue. And yes, as questions spiraled around the aircraft in Iraqi airspace, another political storm was brewing about Mr. Donald Trump and Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. For weeks, speculations have been growing about possible disagreement between Washington and Jerusalem. In fact, reports suggest that Mr. Trump wanted restraint while Israel was preparing for military action against Iran. And then came the claims that Mr. Netanyahu, he ignored Mr. Trump's advice and moved forward anyway. But Mr. Trump, he is now pushing back very strongly against that particular narrative. According to his remark, Israeli missiles were already on their way when the conversation took place. Mr. Trump says that he urged Mr. Netanyahu to use common sense because negotiations with Iran, they were making progress. He also rejected the suggestion that the Israeli leader had openly defied him. In fact, Mr. Trump, he went even further, emphasizing the whole influence he believes he has over Mr. Netanyahu. Well, the comments come at a time when every statement from the global leaders, it is being carefully analyzed for any sort of clue about what happens next. Well, in today's whole West Asia, a single phone call between leaders, it can influence military decisions, diplomatic efforts, and regional stability. Many analysts, they believe the relationship between Washington and Jerusalem, that remains one of the most iconic one. Important factors that are shaping the events in future. Well, if there are disagreements behind closed doors, well, they could have significant impact on the future developments. But yes, while Mr. Trump, he was defending his relationship with Mr. Netanyahu, Iranian officials, they were delivering sharp words of their own. The diplomatic battle is becoming just as insane as the military one. Senior Iranian officials, they are now openly questioning whether the United States is serious about reaching an agreement or not. In fact, one prominent Iranian lawmaker accused Washington of lacking the political will necessary to produce a meaningful deal here. In fact, he argued that negotiations remain as part of a broader strategic struggle and insisted that Iran would not at all compromise on key national interests here. These comments, they reflect a growing sense of frustration within Tehran here. While American officials continue speaking about the possible agreements and ceasefire efforts, Iranian leaders, they are signaling that major differences remains unresolved here. The result is a situation where both the ends continue talking about simultaneously expressing deep mistrust here. And that uncertainty, it is creating a lot of concern across the region because, let's be honest, diplomacy remains one of the few paths capable of preventing a war. If negotiations fail, the risk of further escalation could increase. Investors, governments, military planners across the world, they are closely monitoring every single statement because even a single diplomatic breakthrough or maybe breakdown, it could have major consequences for the global security and energy market. And yes, while negotiations remain uncertain overseas, one major Trump proposal has just run into serious trouble back home. This story could have major implications for thousands of skilled foreign workers though, specifically Indians living in America. Donald Trump's proposal involving a massive H-1B visa fee has been struck down by a federal judge. The court stated that Congress, not the president, yes, Congress holds the authority over taxation matter. The decision represents a significant setback for an immigration measure that had generated concern, and that too across several other industries in the US. Let me name them: technology companies, healthcare providers, universities, biotech firms, research institutions. They are all closely watching the whole outcome. Many of these sectors depend heavily on skilled international talent. For Indian professionals in particular, developments involving the H-1B program, they are always important because the visa, that remains one of the primary pathways to working in the US. Although the administration, it is expected to appeal, but the whole ruling, it highlights the ongoing political and legal battle surrounding immigration policy in America. Well, many employers, they had warned that a dramatic increase in visa cost could make it more expensive to hire skilled workers from overseas. For now, the court's decision offered temporary relief, but the broader debate over immigration and skilled worker visa, it is definitely far from over. But yes, while one Trump initiative was facing challenges in court, another report was fueling speculations about possible military plans involving Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, every conflict generates rumor. Every crisis produces speculation. And now, reports involving Iran's Khag Island quickly attracted global attention. But according to a lot of claims, discussions about possible military contingency plans have triggered concern about future conflict scenarios in that region. And at the very same time, reports of the US troop movements connected to the regional security operations have added to those speculations. In the meantime, military analysts they note that troop deployment do not automatically signal offensive action. Governments they regularly reposition forces for defensive and operational reasons. However, when tensions are already running high, even routine military movement it can trigger concern. It is important to note though that there are currently no official confirmation of any active invasion plan or maybe military operations targeting Khag Island. Now, nevertheless, the reports show how quickly uncertainty can spread when multiple countries are involved in a rapidly changing security escalation. Khag Island, in particular, if we talk about this region, it's important because it plays a major role in Iran's oil export. Any threat to that location, it would immediately attract a lot of attention and it could have implications for the global energy market. And that is why even unconfirmed reports are generating so much discussion. And yes, that brings us to our final story tonight, one involving American aircraft, Israeli airfields, and growing question about Washington's role in this particular conflict. As Iran and Israel exchanged strikes, attention turned towards the videos showing American aircraft at Israel's Ben Gurion Airport. Among the aircraft attracting the whole attention were KC-135 refueling tankers, fueling debates about the extent of the US involvement in the whole regional event. The images quickly spread online, prompting a lot of questions about whether Washington was preparing for a larger role in this crisis or not. And at the very same time, reports suggest growing differences between Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu over how the conflict should be handled. Though Mr. Trump publicly called for both sides just to stop the war and insisted that diplomatic efforts remained active despite continuing attacks here. In the meantime, Iran claimed strikes on the Israeli targets. The Houthis continued making threats regarding the Red Sea shipping and governments throughout the region remained on high alert. The presence of American aircraft it became a symbol of larger question being asked around the world. How involved is the US becoming in this conflict? Military experts know that refueling aircraft they are often used to support long-range operations and logistical missions, which is why their presence attracted so much attention. For now, Washington maintains that it is pursuing stability while avoiding any direct participation in the latest exchanges. But in a region where tensions can change overnight, every aircraft, every statement, every military moment, it continues to be closely watched by the allies, rivals, and global markets alike. Now take a step back and look at tonight's stories. Ladies and gentlemen, an American Apache crashes near the Strait of Hormuz. Reports emerge of attacks near the US military position. The Houthis launch another missile. Questions arise about aircraft shot down over Iraq. Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu faces scrutiny over their relationship. Iran pushes back against American diplomacy. A major H-1B proposal is blocked in the court. Reports of military contingency planning it is sparking a lot of concern, and in the end, American aircraft in Israel generate fresh debate. At first glance, these stories seem very separate, but they all are connected by one reality. The whole West Asia remains one of the most volatile regions on the planet Earth. Every missile launch, every diplomatic statement, and every military moment, it has the potential to influence events far beyond the region itself. And you know what? That is why these stories matters a lot. I'm Driti. This is Skyline. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.